In the personal story segment tonight, holding Hillary Clinton to account. Senator Rand Paul has been aggressively pursuing that.
Recently, you launched a campaign to hold Hillary Clinton accountable for her crimes. How are you going to accomplish that?
We're all for it. I think an indictment would be a good idea, followed by a prison sentence.
Joining us now from Bowling Green, Kentucky, to elaborate, Senator Rand Paul. Okay, Senator, you're maybe the first, maybe the only U.S. senator who said that she should be locked up. Why do you say that?
Well, you know, I'm a big believer in equal protection under the law. You know, whether you're rich or poor, white or black, everybody should be treated the same under the law. I represent a lot of soldiers in Kentucky, Fort Campbell and Fort Knox. Every one of those soldiers knows they can't take classified information and have it on their personal computer, and they know there won't be any exceptions, that they will be prosecuted, they'll be put in the brig, they'll be stripped of their rank, and they'll be booted out of the military. And so I don't think it's fair to hold our soldiers, many of them enlisted men and women, to one standard and then say to Hillary Clinton, oh, well, she can do whatever she wanted. I think anybody else in this situation would have been prosecuted, including General Petraeus, who had a similar situation where classified information was not where it was supposed to be and other people had access to it. They didn't do anything to give him a break. He was prosecuted. And so, no, I think it's very unfair that Hillary Clinton wasn't prosecuted. And this is one among several reasons why I think that really her dishonesty should preclude her from really being considered for Commander-in-Chief.
Senator, why do you think FBI Director James Comey did not recommend her for indictment to the DOJ?
You know, interestingly, my own personal theory on this is that I think he wanted to indict her, and I think he feels guilty that he didn't. And I think that's why you got this long, detailed explanation of how dishonest she was. You know, she didn't actually lie to the FBI during the testimony, but she lied to the American people on multiple occasions. And he pointed this out in specific detail. And the FBI doesn't have to do that. So my sort of personal theory is that Comey feels a little guilty about not indicting her, so therefore he spelled out for the American people, so at least the voters can find out that she did lie many, many times to the public about whether or not she had classified email out there. You know, one of the classified emails that Judge Napolitano has pointed out was the schedule for Ambassador Stevens in the last 2 days of his life. You can understand why, you know, Ambassador Stevens wouldn't have wanted the jihadist to know where he was, when he was, and why that was inexcusable that Hillary Clinton would put that out there and not put it in a secure place.
Do you think intent mattered? I mean, we had been hearing up until the Comey decision that intent didn't matter. So it didn't really matter if she intended to send the classified or receive classified. It mattered that it actually happened. Apparently, Comey says intent mattered in this case.
Well, you know, there's sort of a technical legal detail, but a lot of laws you have to have intent. This particular law, you have to show gross negligence. So you don't have to show intent. You could just be extremely careless.
Wasn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't she?
That's exactly what Comey said she was, extremely careless. And so for many of us who aren't lawyers but do believe that words mean something, how is extremely careless different than grossly negligent? So yes, I think she did violate the statute, but more importantly, she showed that her convenience was more important than national security, and that to me is inexcusable and goes to a great deal of her judgments that I think show her not fit to be president.
Well, you know, you say the term is above the law. Is she above the law?
I think often the Clintons appear to be. For example, Bill Clinton made millions of dollars giving speeches that had business before the Secretary of State. So one business wanted to sell electronics to Iran in violation of the sanctions. Bill Clinton got $750,000 from them. At the same time, Hillary Clinton was deciding whether or not she would let them sell things to Iran. Same way with the uranium company. Bill Clinton got I think $750,000 from a bank that was negotiating the purchase of a North American uranium company. Just so happens Hillary Clinton had to vote on that also. So the conflict of interest just goes on, and I think it's indictable. I think she should be in prison for it. But short of that, I think every voter in the country needs to know that the Clintons are in it for themselves. They're in it to make money, and they will make hundreds of millions of dollars if she gets in the White House, because they will sell themselves to the highest bidder. Every voter in America should know that, and they should make a sincere judgment on whether or not you want somebody who's in it for enriching themselves or someone who actually would defend the country.
No doubt. Senator, there's some, let's call it this, there's some potential breaking news out there. Julian Assange, who heads WikiLeaks, says there are some emails that pretty much tie Hillary Clinton to knowing about some weapons that may have been going through Libya to some of the ISIS fighters. Let's take a listen to what you asked her back in 2013 Benghazi hearing.
It's been in news reports that ships have been leaving from Libya and that they may have weapons. And what I'd like to know is the annex that was close by, were they involved with procuring, buying, selling, obtaining weapons? And were any of these weapons being transferred to other countries, any countries, Turkey included?
Well, Senator, you'll have to direct that question to the agency that ran the annex. And I will see what information is available. And
you're saying you don't know?
I do not know. I don't have any information on that.
Now, if WikiLeaks, in fact, does have emails proving that she did know, what does that mean to you?
It's a felony to lie to Congress. You can get 5 years in prison. And we can't continue to say that the Clintons are above the law. I do believe that the CIA annex in Benghazi was procuring weapons, some of them to get them away from the jihadists in Libya, but some of it to ferry those weapons through Turkey into Syria. There have been many, many first-hand accounts. New York Times, London Times, Washington Times have all reported upon this. I know for a fact that the current Secretary of State is very aware of what the CIA is doing, and I can't reveal what I've heard from him, but I can tell you that he's aware of what the CIA is doing in Syria, and I find it hard to believe that Hillary Clinton, who all the news reports have said she was the biggest advocate for arming the Islamic rebels in Syria, many of whom turned out to be not only enemies of ours, some of them may have turned out to be ISIS, but some of them also turned out to be enemies of Israel as well.
All right, Senator, we're going to have to leave it there, and we will be waiting to see if WikiLeaks does, in fact, have those emails that tie her to knowledge of what you just, the question you just asked her, where she said had no knowledge. Senator Paul, thank you very much. New revelations in the Hillary Clinton email scandal. About 300 pages of emails released Tuesday are raising questions about quid pro quo relationships between Clinton Foundation staffers and Hillary Clinton's State Department. Joining us with more on the legal implications of all this, Fox senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, you're listening to this. We're shaking our heads going, how much, this is almost textbook. Quid pro quo.
Right. If it weren't so tragic, it would almost be laughable that the right hand permits the left hand to engage in this. What we have here, not only from Tom's work, and by the way, he's a single-handed, dedicated person who exposed all this by filing these Freedom of Information Act lawsuits. What we see here is a regular, consistent pattern of foreign governments, foreign entities, and foreign persons coming to the Clinton State Department and asking for favors. Favors she is lawfully allowed to give, an exemption from this rule, permission to do that, the opportunity to purchase this. And then after the favor is issued, formally using the formal power that the federal law gives to the Secretary of State, huge contributions are made to the Clinton Foundation, and in some cases, huge speaking fees to Bill Clinton himself, by huge, $750,000, $500,000 to former President Bill Clinton, the husband of the Secretary of State, for a 35-minute speech.
Let me tie that up even further. These things happened after 2009.
Right.
Bill Clinton has not been president for 9 years at that point.
Right.
Yet his speaking fee went from $100,000 to $200,000 up to $500,000 and above 9 years after he left. But it happens to coincide with Hillary Clinton's time, 11 of the 13,
of course,
during her time as State Department.
Because he's not only producing a speech, he's producing some exemption from American federal regulation or some opportunity in America for these people that are hosting the speech that only his wife can give. Eric, in my view, this is an easier case for the FBI to prove than the email case was. It's easier for the public to understand. It's easier for a
They don't seem to be going too much into this whole pay-for-play thing where it looks like if you wanted access to the State Department under Hillary Clinton, you just gave them a bunch of dough. And now there's a story that her chief of staff in 2012 left the State Department for a day, came to New York City to interview somebody for the Clinton Foundation. There was supposed to be a line of division there. Apparently not.
Apparently not. And remember, Uma Abedin and Cheryl Mills, the person who went to interview someone for the Clinton Foundation, they are that triumvirate that were on the private server. And I have said from the beginning that the whole purpose of that server and no one having access to the information that the three of them had, Hillary, Uma, and Cheryl Mills, her attorney, her pit bull from the days of Bill Clinton's impeachment when he was in the White House, was to make sure that monies that were funneled through the foundation were protected from disclosure. So it makes perfect sense that Uma Abedin and Cheryl Mills would be involved in this. Uma's paid by the foundation and the State Department. Cheryl Mills is the one who was interviewing for the foundation position. So you ask yourself, well, maybe she's just doing this for a charity.
Right.
Wrong. That's not what this woman does. Remember, as you said, Steve, there was an MOU with the president where Hillary Clinton said that there would be this wall between the State Department and the Clinton Foundation. Now we find out that there are 12,000 emails from the Clinton Foundation to the State Department, essentially making sure that people who paid the Clintons, and I'm not even going to say the foundation, because that is nothing more than a money laundering operation that was used as a slush fund. It is not a charitable foundation. No charitable foundation has only 10% that goes to a charity. And that money is used as a slush fund eventually. And Uma and Cheryl Mills are the ones who are the dogs protecting the organization.
So when does this rise to the level of being illegal?
It is illegal. And here is the problem. We're more worried about semantics, not that we are, not that normal people are, but the elite media and the Democrats. This is classic, Clayton, pay to play. This, and you know what that means? We use these words. I'm going to tell you what it means. It means RICO. It means bribery. It means political elitism, where people, not just from corporations in America, but Russian oligarchs.
Well, Judge, then where are the feds? If you're talking about racketeering and everything else, where are the feds?
Where are the feds? They're the same feds who said that, oh, Hillary was just reckless when she spent 4 years with classified emails on a private server. And you're going to tell me that she wasn't reckless and negligent with those emails? Of course she was.
People are accused.
Joining us now with reaction from Washington, Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, the group which uncovered these new emails. Doug, I mean, we've heard about these emails for most of the day, but again, Doug Band, a top Clinton Foundation official, asking the State Department for access to a Lebanese man, presumably to do business with them, and then this man, Doug Band, says there's a lot of money involved. There's $1 million, somewhere between $1 million and $5 million involved that the Clinton Foundation is going to receive, right?
Yeah, Shagor, the name of the man is Mr. Shagori, and he's a billionaire. He gave between $1 million and $5 million to the Clinton Foundation, committed to $1 billion program associated with the Clinton Global Initiative, which is also part of the foundation. And so the Clinton Foundation's top operative, Doug Band, communicates with Clinton's top aides at the State Department saying he wants to talk to someone, your top guy, about Lebanon. And, you know, he says he's important to us, which translates to most normal people as he's important to us because he's a big donor to us. And so people have raised the issue is, why is it that Mrs. Clinton, who promised to stay out of Clinton Foundation business, almost immediately the Clinton Foundation and her top aides are trying to take care of a Clinton donor?
Now, if you read some of these emails, it sounds like this Doug Band is telling Uma Abedin, in this instance, who's working at the time, at this moment for Hillary Clinton, telling her what he wants her to do. And she's responding saying, yes, I'll do that. I'll get that done. That is the very definition of quid pro quo, especially if you tie in that money, the $1 to $5 million.
Exactly. And Abedin and Cheryl Mills, who was also involved in this process, had been closely associated with the Clinton Foundation. In fact, Abedin later went to work for the foundation while working for the State Department at the same time. So this is working hand in glove, and Mrs. Clinton promised, in order to get it confirmed as the Secretary of State, to keep the Clinton Foundation out of State Department business, and those rules and that promise and that ethics agreement was violated almost immediately.
Can you, Tom, can you lock down these timelines? So there are people who are pushing back saying, hey, maybe the time didn't line up right, but these things happened from January of 2009 when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State during her 4-year term, right?
Yeah, this is all during her term as State Department. She was at the State Department. Doug Band talked to her former colleagues at the State Department from the Clinton Foundation, now at the State Department, to get this favor done for Mr. Shiguri. There's also another email where the subject line says, a favor. Someone was seeking a job at the State Department. Band wanted some follow-up on that, and he was told there was follow-up. We don't know if it was a donor or just an associate or a friend, but once again, if you knew the Clinton Foundation, had a friend at the Clinton Foundation, or were a big donor to the Clinton Foundation, you got a favor done, which was special access to the upper reaches of Hillary Clinton's State Department.
All right, one more question. Who agreed, who thought would be a good idea, and who agreed, who signed off on Huma Abedin being able to work for not only the State Department, but simultaneously work for the Clinton Foundation? I mean, I don't know if it's a conflict or corruption, but someone had to sign off on that, right?
Yeah, later we found the document. We thought initially it was signed by Hillary Clinton because her name is on the form, but Cheryl Mills, her chief of staff, signed it for her. So, again, approved at the upper reaches at the State Department.
Wow. I mean,
and Mills, by the way, later went.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mills, by the way, later went to work for the Clinton Foundation and is now with the foundation.
Honestly, the incestual relationships between these two, there's more to come, I'm guessing. Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you.